Marcus Johnson had been unemployed for 3 months, and this interview was his last hope. But a traffic accident ruined everything. As he sat hopelessly in front of the building, he didn't know he was at the turning point of his life. The man who came to sit beside him would offer him not just a second chance, but a completely different world. It was supposed to be the most important day of Marcus Johnson's life. At 28, this MIT computer science graduate had been unemployed for 3 months. His savings were depleted, rent was overdue, and he was facing eviction in just 2 weeks. The interview at Tech Vision Solutions was his final lifeline. He had spent weeks preparing, researching every detail about the company, practicing answers to potential questions. This senior software developer position wasn't just a job, it was his salvation. But then disaster struck. A 3-car collision on the 405 freeway brought traffic to a complete standstill. Marcus watched helplessly as minutes ticked by, his interview time approaching and then passing. By the time he reached the gleaming 40-story office building, he was 45 minutes late. The receptionist's words hit him like a physical blow. "I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson. The interview panel has moved on to other candidates. We can't reschedule at this time." Marcus found himself sitting on a concrete bench outside the building, his perfectly prepared portfolio scattered beside him, his head buried in his hands. 3 months of rejection, hundreds of applications, countless interviews, all leading to this moment of complete defeat. That's when a man in casual clothes approached. Dark hair, kind eyes, and an unassuming presence that somehow commanded attention without demanding it. "Rough day?" the stranger asked, settling onto the bench beside Marcus. Marcus looked up, tears barely held in check. 3 months unemployed. MIT graduate reduced to this. He gestured helplessly at his scattered papers. The man listened without judgment as Marcus poured out his story. The layoffs, the failed interviews, the mounting debt, the fear of losing his apartment. "What kind of work were you doing?" the stranger asked. "Software development, AI systems, machine learning algorithms. I specialized in predictive analytics for workforce optimization." Marcus let out a bitter laugh. "Ironic, isn't it? I built systems to help companies find the right employees, and now I can't find employment myself." Something shifted in the stranger's expression. "What if I told you that your expertise in workforce analytics could solve a much bigger problem than just finding you a job?" Marcus looked up, confused. "What do you mean?" "I mean, what if your late arrival at this interview wasn't a failure, but exactly where you needed to be?" The man introduced himself simply as Keanu, buying Marcus coffee and settling into a quiet corner booth. As Marcus explained his background, MIT degree, 3 years at a major tech firm before layoffs, specialized expertise in AI-driven employment matching, Keanu's interest intensified. "I've been thinking about unemployment differently," Keanu said. "Not as individual failures, but as a systematic matching problem. Qualified people like you falling through cracks not because you lack skills, but because traditional hiring systems are broken." Marcus found himself leaning forward, his despair momentarily forgotten. Exactly. The current system is incredibly inefficient. Companies post generic job descriptions, candidates submit generic resumes, and both sides waste enormous amounts of time on mismatched interviews. "What if we created something better?" Keanu asked. "An AI-powered platform that doesn't just match skills to job requirements, but understands career transitions, identifies transferable skills, and helps people pivot between industries." "You're talking about a complete reimagining of career development," Marcus said, his eyes lighting up for the first time in months. "A system that could analyze someone's background, identify their hidden potential, and guide them toward opportunities they might never have considered." "Exactly. And I want you to lead the development." Marcus stared at him. "But you don't even know me. We just met an hour ago." Keanu smiled. Sometimes the universe puts exactly the right person in exactly the right place at exactly the right time. Your crisis today? That wasn't coincidence. That was preparation. What are you proposing exactly? Full-time position, lead developer on what we'll call OpportunityBridge, competitive salary, equity stake, and complete creative control over the technical architecture. Are you interested? Marcus felt his world tilting. Yes, absolutely yes. But can I ask, why are you doing this? Because I believe that when we help one person find their path, we create ripples that help thousands of others find theirs. Your story doesn't end with today's disappointment. It begins here. Within a week, Marcus found himself in a state-of-the-art development space in Santa Monica, leading a team of 5 engineers in building OpportunityBridge from the ground up. The platform was revolutionary in its approach. Instead of simple keyword matching, it used advanced natural language processing to understand career narratives. It could analyze someone's background and identify patterns that revealed hidden strengths and potential career paths. Traditional job boards are like dating apps where everyone lies, Marcus explained to his team during a design session. We're building something more like a career counselor with the processing power of a supercomputer. The system Marcus designed could identify when a laid-off journalist might excel in content marketing, when a retired military officer could thrive in project management, or when a recent graduate's volunteer work revealed leadership potential that formal education hadn't captured. But the real innovation was the mentorship component. OpportunityBridge didn't just match people to jobs, it connected them with mentors who had navigated similar career transitions. Every successful career change has a human element, Marcus told Keanu during a progress meeting. The AI can identify opportunities, but people need guidance, encouragement, and real connections to make transitions successfully. Within 3 months, they had a working prototype. The first beta test included 100 unemployed professionals from diverse backgrounds, former retail workers looking to transition to tech, displaced manufacturing employees interested in healthcare, recent graduates struggling to find entry-level positions. The results exceeded everyone's expectations. 78% of beta users received job offers within 6 weeks, compared to the 12% success rate of traditional job search methods. The platform's first major success was Sarah Chen, a 45-year-old former restaurant manager who had been unemployed for 8 months after the pandemic shuttered her workplace. Traditional job searches had yielded nothing. She was overqualified for entry-level positions, but lacked specific technical skills for management roles in other industries. OpportunityBridge's AI recognized that her crisis management experience during busy restaurant rushes, her staff training abilities, and her customer service expertise made her perfect for operations roles in fast-growing startups. Within 2 weeks, Sarah was hired as operations manager at a tech startup, with a 40% salary increase from her previous position. Then came David Rodriguez, a 52-year-old former automotive factory worker facing age discrimination in traditional manufacturing. The platform identified that his precision work experience, problem-solving skills, and mechanical aptitude made him ideal for emerging roles in renewable energy installation. David completed a 6-week solar panel certification program, which OpportunityBridge helped him find and apply for, and was hired by a clean energy company at a salary 25% higher than his factory job. These weren't isolated successes. The platform was systematically identifying overlooked talent and connecting people with opportunities they never would have discovered on their own. What Marcus has built isn't just a job board, Keanu observed during a team meeting. It's a career transformation engine. It's giving people permission to reimagine their professional lives. The platform's success caught the attention of major employers who were struggling with their own hiring challenges. Companies began reaching out, asking to partner with OpportunityBridge to find candidates for hard-to-fill positions. As word spread about OpportunityBridge's success, investment interest followed. Marcus found himself presenting to venture capital firms, A surreal experience for someone who had been jobless just 6 months earlier. Traditional recruiting focuses on perfect matches, Marcus explained to a room full of potential investors. We focus on perfect potential. Our AI doesn't just read resumes, it reads between the lines of people's life experiences to identify capabilities they might not even know they have. The numbers were compelling. In 6 months, OpportunityBridge had facilitated over 2,500 successful job placements across 15 industries. User satisfaction rates exceeded 90%, and corporate partners reported 60% higher retention rates for employees hired through the platform compared to traditional recruiting methods. Sequoia Capital led a $5 million Series A funding round, with participation from several other major firms. The investment allowed rapid expansion, more engineers, partnerships with universities and retraining programs, and geographic expansion beyond Los Angeles. But Marcus insisted on maintaining the platform's core mission. "We're not building another corporate recruiting tool," he told the board. "We're building a social infrastructure that helps people navigate career transitions in a rapidly changing economy." The platform expanded to include not just job matching, but career development resources, personalized learning recommendations, skill gap analysis, networking opportunities with professionals in target industries. "Every person we help becomes a mentor for the next person," Marcus explained. "We're creating a virtuous cycle where career success generates more career success for others." Marcus's story caught national attention when he was invited to speak at TED. His talk, titled "What if Unemployment is a Matching Problem, Not a Skills Problem," has been viewed over 3 million times. "I was 45 minutes late for an interview that would have given me a $75,000 job," Marcus told the TED audience. "Instead, I met someone who helped me create a platform that has generated over $120 million in new salaries for workers who were considered unemployable." The statistics Marcus shared were staggering. In 2 years, OpportunityBridge had facilitated 25,000 plus successful job placements, increased average user salaries by 35%, reduced time to hire for corporate partners by 50%, achieved 89% job retention rate after 1 year, and expanded to 25 cities across the United States. Major corporations, including Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, had become platform partners, not just to find employees, but to contribute expertise and mentorship to career transition programs. "We realized that our biggest corporate challenge wasn't finding people with the right skills," explained a Google hiring manager. "It was finding people with the right potential and giving them pathways to develop the skills we needed." The platform had evolved beyond simple job matching into a comprehensive career ecosystem. Users could access AI-powered career transition planning, personalized skill development recommendations, industry-specific mentorship programs, micro-learning modules for skill development, networking events and professional communities, and financial planning resources for career transitions. For Marcus personally, the transformation had been extraordinary. From an unemployed MIT graduate facing eviction, he had become CTO of a platform valued at $50 million, with a personal net worth exceeding $8 million. But the financial success wasn't what drove him anymore. "I get emails every day from people whose lives have been changed by OpportunityBridge," Marcus reflected during a quiet moment in his Santa Monica office. "Yesterday, I heard from a single mother who went from unemployed to software developer in 8 months. Last week, it was a veteran who found his calling in renewable energy after struggling to transition to civilian work." Marcus had also become a mentor himself, working personally with dozens of professionals navigating difficult career transitions. He had established the Johnson Foundation, providing grants and support for career development in underserved communities. "That terrible day when I was late for my interview, I thought my career was over. I couldn't have imagined that it was actually the day my real career began." His relationship with his mysterious benefactor had evolved into a deep friendship.
Keanu remained involved in OpportunityBridge as both advisor and investor, but he had also become something more valuable, a mentor who had taught Marcus to see opportunity in crisis.
Keanu showed me that sometimes what looks like failure is actually redirection towards something you couldn't have planned for yourself, Marcus observed. By its third year, OpportunityBridge had expanded internationally with active programs in 12 countries. The platform had been adapted for different economic contexts, helping displaced workers in manufacturing regions transition to renewable energy jobs, connecting refugees with employment opportunities that matched their professional backgrounds, and supporting career pivots in developing economies. The economic impact was measurable and massive. Independent analysis showed that OpportunityBridge users generated over $2.3 billion in new economic value through improved career matches and faster transitions between jobs. But the social impact was even more significant. The platform had demonstrated that unemployment often wasn't about lack of skills or motivation. It was about inadequate systems for connecting human potential with economic opportunity. Marcus has proven that with the right tools, people don't just find jobs, they find careers that unlock potential they didn't know they had, noted Dr. Elizabeth Warren during a Senate committee hearing on economic opportunity.
The platform's success had inspired dozens of similar initiatives worldwide. Marcus found himself consulting with governments and nonprofits on designing employment ecosystems that prioritized human potential over perfect resume matches. The goal was never just to build a successful company, Marcus explained during a Harvard Business School case study interview. The goal was to prove that we could redesign how career development works in a rapidly changing economy. The ripple effects of that day's encounter continued expanding in unexpected ways. Sarah Chen, the former restaurant manager who became a startup operations manager, had gone on to launch her own consulting firm, helping other restaurants transition to digital operations during the pandemic. David Rodriguez, the former factory worker who became a solar installer, had started a training program in his community that had prepared over 200 workers for clean energy careers. These weren't isolated examples. OpportunityBridge tracking showed that 67% of successful users became mentors for other career transitions, creating an exponential effect where each placement generated additional placements. We discovered something fascinating, Marcus told a conference of workforce development professionals. When people experience successful career transitions, they don't just improve their own situations, they become resources for helping others navigate similar changes.
The platform had also influenced how major corporations approached hiring. Companies began investing more in skills-based hiring, career transition programs, and internal mobility platforms inspired by OpportunityBridge's model. Marcus forced us to question our entire approach to talent acquisition, explained a Microsoft executive. Instead of looking for people who already had the exact skills we needed, we started looking for people who had the capacity to develop those skills. Today, 5 years after that failed interview, Marcus Johnson oversees a platform that has facilitated over 150,000 career transitions. OpportunityBridge has been valued at $300 million and continues growing by 40% annually. Marcus himself has become one of the most sought-after speakers on career development and workforce transformation. His book, The Opportunity Algorithm: How AI Can Unlock Human Potential, became a bestseller and is required reading in business schools worldwide. But he hasn't forgotten his roots. Every Monday morning, Marcus still makes time to personally mentor individuals facing career transitions. His office wall displays hundreds of thank you notes from people whose lives were changed by the platform he built from his moment of desperation. I keep these to remind myself that behind every data point is a human story, Marcus explained.
Every successful placement represents someone who went from feeling invisible in the job market to finding work that matches their potential. The platform continues evolving. Recent additions include AI-powered personal branding assistants, automated reference gathering, and predictive analytics that help users anticipate industry changes and prepare for emerging opportunities.
When asked about the secret to OpportunityBridge's success, Marcus always returns to the lessons learned during his darkest professional moment. Traditional hiring assumes that people's past perfectly predicts their future capabilities, Marcus explains. But human potential is much more complex and dynamic than that. The AI we built doesn't just analyze what people have done, it identifies patterns that suggest what they could do with the right opportunity and support. The platform's core philosophy became known as potential-first matching, the idea that career success comes from aligning human capabilities with growth opportunities rather than simply matching existing skills with static job requirements. Too many talented people fall through cracks in our employment systems, Marcus noted during a recent interview. They get categorized by their most recent job title or their formal education, but their real value often lies in experiences and capabilities that don't show up on traditional resumes. This philosophy had practical implications. OpportunityBridge's algorithms gave weight to volunteer experiences, personal projects, life challenges overcome, and transferable skills that traditional recruiting overlooked.
The miracle that began with a missed interview continues expanding every day. What started as one man's professional crisis became a platform that has generated over $8.5 billion in new economic value for workers worldwide. But for Marcus, the most meaningful measure of success isn't financial. It's the emails he receives from people whose lives were changed by discovering opportunities they never would have found otherwise. Last week, I got a message from a 58-year-old former coal miner who used our platform to transition to solar panel installation, Marcus shared. He wrote that for the first time in his career, he feels like he's building the future instead of being left behind by it. Marcus's story demonstrates how individual kindness can scale into systemic change. One person's willingness to see potential in a moment of crisis had created infrastructure that helps thousands of people navigate career transitions successfully. That day, when I was sitting outside that office building, I thought my story was ending, Marcus reflects. I couldn't have imagined it was actually the day I would discover what I was really meant to do with my professional life. The platform Marcus built, with support from a stranger's belief, continues growing, adapting to new economic realities and proving that with the right systems, no one needs to face career transitions alone. And every day, in cities around the world, people sitting on benches facing their own professional crises are discovering that sometimes the most devastating disappointment is actually life preparing you for an opportunity you could never have planned for yourself. The miracle from the late interview continues, one career transformation at a time.